Hey thinkers, welcome back to Think Sharp Alley, where every turn leads to a smart solution.
Today we will understand the chapter
Before we begin, let me tell
polynomials.
you exactly
But
what we are
before we
going to cover
begin,
today.
let me tell you
Here's our road.
exactly what we are going to cover today.
First, what are polynomials? So we will understand which expressions are not polynomials. So that will build us clarity because if the foundation is strong, everything else becomes easy. Second, degree of a polynomial. How to find out degree in univariate and multivariate cases and classifying polynomial based on degree and based on number of terms. There you will understand structure, how polynomials should be organized. Third, value of a polynomial and zeros of a polynomial. So what does it mean to find the value of a polynomial at a point? When does that value become zero? And what do we mean by zeros of a polynomial? There we will move from calculation to concept. Fourth, finding zeros from the graph. How zeros appear on a graph. What does it mean when a graph cuts or touches the x-axis as you can see on the figure? How many zeros can a polynomial have based on its degree? Here, maths becomes visual. Fifth, last but not the least, relationship between zeros and coefficients for linear as well as quadratic polynomial. Why this relationship works, how it works, we'll all understand this.
Let us understand what is a polynomial first. A polynomial is an algebraic expression consisting of variables, constants. But can we consider all algebraic expression polynomials? The answer is no. Why not? Basically, a polynomial is a special kind of algebraic expression where the power of the variable should be a whole number. So, if I have to give some examples of algebraic expressions that are not polynomials, would be these. Root x, square root of x is actually x to the power half. Similarly, cube root of x or let's say x to the power 2 by 3. All these are not polynomials. So if you have any algebraic expression including these terms, it will not be a polynomial. So that is why these expressions that you can see on screen, they are not polynomials. One more example is x plus 1 by x. It is also not polynomial because x is in the denominator with a positive power. So I told you a variable cannot have a negative power. So I can write x plus 1 by x as x plus x to the power minus 1. And hence, this is also not a polynomial. Similarly, x square plus 1 by x square is not a polynomial. Now, since we have understood what are polynomials and what are not polynomials, let us come to the next topic, that is degree of a polynomial. What do we mean by degree of a polynomial?
At first, let us recall how to find out degree for a univariate polynomial. Univariate polynomial means polynomial in one variable. For examples, these. Since there is only one variable, finding the degree is simple. We just look at the highest power of that variable. So in this case, it is a polynomial in x. Both of these are polynomial in x. And these are each term, 3x squared, 5x, and 1. So here the power of x is 2, which is the highest power, and hence the degree is 2. For the second one, again we have three terms, and the highest power of the variable is in this term, right? Which is 5. So the degree of this polynomial is 5. Now, what if the polynomial has more than one variable? Such polynomials are called multivariate polynomials. For example, 3x squared y, 2xy cubed plus x squared y squared. Here we cannot just look at one variable. So what do we do? Very important rule. In a multivariate polynomial, the degree of a term, we'll obviously see term by term. Degree of a term is the sum of the powers of all the variables present in that term. So for example, this is a monomial 3x squared y. Here the power of x is 2 and power of y is 1. So the degree of this term is 2 plus 1, that is 3. And since it's a monomial, so degree of this term becomes the degree of the polynomial. Similarly over here in the second one, degree of the first term, 3, and power of x is 1 over here. So 3 plus 1, 4. And in this case, it's again 2 plus 2, 4. So since the degree is same, so over here, degree of this polynomial is 4. In case one would have been a little different, so the highest degree would become the degree of the polynomial. But as per class 10 syllabus, we mainly deal with univariate polynomials. So the degree is simply the highest power of the single variable. Now let us classify polynomials based on degree. Here we will see, based on degree, what do we call that polynomial, how many terms at most it can have, its general form, and a few examples. So if a polynomial has degree 1, it is called a linear polynomial, which can have maximum 2 non-zero terms. Which are the terms? Ax, and another is just a constant term b. Okay. Here the coefficient of the leading term cannot be 0, because if a is 0, so 0 into x, this term vanishes completely. So px becomes just b, which is constant, and it is not a linear polynomial then, right? So I have given two examples. You can see one is a monomial, so it's a linear monomial, and the other one is a linear binomial. If a polynomial has degree 2, it is called quadratic polynomial, which can have maximum 3 non-zero terms, which are ax squared, bx, and c. Now, the ones which I have marked with blue, both all a, b, c, these are all real numbers. The ones that is marked with blue, their value can be 0. Okay, so I've given few examples. Remember, a cannot be 0. So you can see leading terms coefficient is always present. Like in this example, the value of b and c are both 0. For example, the second one, there is no x term present, right? No linear term present in the second example, which means value of b is 0. 7x squared plus 0x plus 1, right? And the third example, where all three terms are present, we can have maximum 3 terms. More than that is not possible. When a polynomial has degree 3, it is called cubic polynomial, which can have maximum 4 terms, whose general form is this. And you can count the four terms: ax cubed, first term; second term is bx squared; third term is cx; and fourth term is d. Here b, c, d can take any real value, but a is always non-zero. Again, I'm repeating the same thing. So I've given 4 such examples. First is cubic monomial, then we have cubic binomial, cubic trinomial, and cubic multinomial, we can say this. So based on number of terms also, you can classify polynomials. So if I need cubic binomial, I can put either b, c, or d0. Like in this example, I have taken b and c as 0. So I'm left with z cube plus 6. You can have 2x squared plus 3x cube as a cubic binomial. Any of these b, c, d can be 0, but not a. And like this way we can continue. So if the degree is 4, we will call that polynomial biquadratic, and maximum number of terms it can have is 5. Okay, why don't you try writing its general form and give some examples? So do you see the relationship between degree and number of terms? Maximum number of terms, that means at most number of terms, is always 1 more than the degree. So if degree of a certain polynomial is, let's say, 10, then it can have at most 11 terms. If the degree is 100, then it can have at most 101 terms.
But wait, we are not done yet. There are also polynomials whose degree is 0 and polynomials whose degree is undefined.
Now let us discuss about two special kind of polynomial. First is constant polynomial, a polynomial whose degree is 0. Why 0? A constant polynomial looks something like this: px equals to root 5. Or px equal to minus 2 by 3. In place of these numbers, you can put any numbers of your own. So constant polynomial will have only one constant term, and it has to be a non-zero term. Okay, because if it becomes 0, then it is another kind of polynomial, which we'll discuss later on. Now, since the RHS portion does not depend upon x, the value remains the same regardless of the variable x. If I want to find out P2, its value is root 5. P3 over here, value is root 5. Even if you change the value of x, value of polynomial does not change. And that is why this polynomial is called constant polynomial. Now, it will have only one term, and that one term is one constant term, non-zero constant. Now, let us understand why the degree is 0. Because any constant term can be written as root 5 into x to the power 0, or minus 2 by 3 into x to the power 0. So over here, the highest power of the variable with non-zero coefficient, remember coefficient has to be non-zero, is 0. That's why the degree is 0. So we can write the general form px equal to k as equals to k into, obviously the variable is present but with power 0, k into x to the power 0. That explains why the degree is 0. Now let us discuss a special case of constant polynomial. That is when this constant k becomes 0. It is called a zero polynomial. So px equal to 0 is a zero polynomial which do not have any non-zero terms, and hence there is no a. Right? So what is degree? Degree is the highest power of the variable with non-zero coefficient. You see, this is quadratic because a is non-zero. right? So 0 can be written as, for example, 0x cube plus 0x square plus 0x plus 0. In place of x cube, you could write 0x to the power 100 and then go on, plus 0x to the power 99 plus 0x plus 0 and other terms. So you see, can you decide what will be the degree of px? No, there are infinitely many ways to write px equal to 0. And hence its degree is undefined. Because if I'm writing it like this, you might say that degree is 3, although this will not be considered as degree as the coefficient is 0. Remember, degree is always defined as the highest power of the variable with non-zero coefficient. Since it do not have any non-zero coefficient, its degree is undefined. Now, if we talk about terms, technically, zero polynomial has infinite number of terms. You see, here I've written a cubic zero polynomial. You can write a quadratic zero polynomial, right? Which will start from 0x square. This term will not be there. 0x square plus 0x plus 0. And then you would call degree to be 2. Now, since it does not have any fixed highest power, so its degree is undefined and it has no non-zero terms, but technically unlimited number of terms, but all of which are 0 only. So now the question is, if zero polynomial is just 0, then can we call it a constant polynomial? Remember, what is a constant polynomial? The polynomial whose value does not change even if we change the value of x, right? So that means the value of the polynomial does not depend on x. So in that logic, zero polynomial is also constant because its value is 0 for whatever x you put, right? But there is definitely a difference. First of all, their general forms are different. Second point of difference is their degree. And third, remember, constant polynomial has one non-zero term while zero polynomial has no non-zero term. Okay. Also, remember, every zero polynomial is constant, but not every constant polynomial is 0. And the reason, degree differs. Now let us understand, what do we mean by value of a polynomial at a given point. Suppose we have a polynomial, and if I ask what is the value of this polynomial at x equal to 2, it simply means substitute 2 in place of x in the polynomial. So basically we are finding out p2. And simplify. So 2 square is 4, 2 is 8, minus 6 plus 1, which gives us 3. So the value of the polynomial at x equal to 2 is 3. Finding value means substitution and simplification, nothing more. Just replace and calculate. Next, a very important concept, zeros of a polynomial. Now, a number a, let's say value of x equals to alpha. This is said to be 0 of a polynomial if p alpha equal to 0. Which means when we substitute this number, this value of x, the value of the polynomial becomes 0. Let us take a simple example to understand. For example, if I consider the same polynomial px as I've taken earlier and find the value of the polynomial at x equals to 1. Let's see what we are getting. P1 is 2 into 1 square minus 3 into 1 plus 1. So the value is 2 minus 3 plus 1, which is equal to 0. So here, since the value of the polynomial becomes 0, we will say that 1 is the 0 of the polynomial. So value is what we get after substitution, and 0 is the value of x that makes the polynomial equal to 0. Now let us understand the connection between the graph of the polynomial and zeros of a polynomial. Before that, please note that the value of a polynomial at a given point, that is px, is actually the y coordinate. So y is equal to px. So when you have found out p2 as 3, that means the x coordinate is 2 and y coordinate is 3 because y is only equal to the value of the polynomial. So the point 2, 3 lies on the graph of this polynomial. Similarly, we found out that p1 is equal to 0. That means 1, because x coordinate is 1 and y coordinate is 0, is a point on the graph of this polynomial. Remember, whenever y coordinate becomes 0, the x coordinate gives the 0 of the polynomial. So if I give you a few points on the graph of a polynomial, let's say 3 comma 0, 0 comma minus 3, 2 comma 5, and 2 comma 0, I ask you to find the zeros of the polynomial without giving you the polynomial or any graph. I've just given you some coordinates. You can see using the coordinate. You'll find out first where the y coordinate is 0. I can see in this point and this point. So these 2 points will give you the 0 of the polynomial. So one 0 is 3, another 0 is 2. And rest of the 2 points are just point. They do not give you any information. Now that we have understood this, in class 9 you have learned that a linear polynomial is of this form. Px is equal to ax plus b. So as I've mentioned just now, px is actually y. So y equals to ax plus b. And if I plot this linear polynomial, we will get a straight line. Now let us take an example. Let's say y is equal to 2x plus 3 is a linear polynomial definitely. What is the 0 of this polynomial? So to find the 0 of the polynomial, what do? We put px equal to 0, that is 2x plus 3 equal to 0, and we get x equal to minus 3 by 2, which is the 0 of the polynomial, right? Now, how do I understand? How do I find the 0 from the graph? Let us draw the graph of 2x plus 3. Our polynomial was 2x plus 3. So I told you from the graph how to determine the zeros. We will see the point where it cuts the x-axis. So the graph over here, since it's a linear polynomial, it will have exactly 1 0. And that is why it cuts the x-axis at only one point, and which is the 0 of the polynomial. Because at this point, the value of y is 0, and value of y is the value of the polynomial. So when the polynomial's value becomes 0, so that number, that means that value of x is called the 0 of the polynomial. So in this case, as it's a linear polynomial, it has only 1 0, and that 0 is minus 1.5. Now let me give you another graph, and why don't you try to find out the 0 of the polynomial. So here let us see the graph of x minus 5. So graph of x minus 5 is something like this. It is cutting the x-axis at 5, 0, while the y-axis at 0, minus 5. Obviously, this coordinate has no significance. My point is where the graph cuts the x-axis, which is this point, right? So the 0 of the polynomial is 5, and as it's a linear polynomial, we can see we have only 1 0. So whenever we have polynomial of the form y equals to ax plus b, we will have at most 1 0. Okay, exactly 1 0. I'm so sorry. We will definitely have 1 0, and that 0 is the point where the graph cuts the x-axis. And that point is called x-intercept. Like for example, this is the graph of this equation. 2x plus y equal to 6. It's a linear polynomial, and hence we have a straight line. It cuts the x-axis at 3, 0, which means the 0 of this polynomial is 3. In this case, again we will have 1 0. So in this case, 0 of the polynomial is 4. Or we say the x-intercept is 4. In this case, the x-intercept is 3. And here the y-intercept is 6. Y-intercept means the graph, the point where the graph cuts the y-axis. Here the y-intercept is minus 3. But since we are talking about 0, 0 is always the x-intercept. Two more linear polynomial. Here the 0 of the polynomial is 5. And by seeing the graph only, you will be able to say that the degree of the polynomial must be 1, right? Because it's a straight line graph. And hence it's a linear polynomial whose degree is 1 and 0 is 5, only 1 0. Here the 0 of the polynomial is 0, right? Because it cuts the x-axis at origin. And that's true. You put x equal to 0, you will get y 0 only, right? So 0 is the 0 of the polynomial here. Now let us look for the geometrical meaning of a 0 of a quadratic polynomial. For this, consider a quadratic polynomial px equal to x square minus 3x minus 4. Let us see what the graph of y equal to x square minus 3x minus 4 looks like. So we see it cuts the x-axis at this point and this point. since it's a quadratic polynomial, notice that it cuts the x-axis at 2 points. So degree is 2, that's why it will have at most 2 0. Like linear polynomial will always have exactly 1 0. Okay, but a quadratic polynomial may not have real zeros. Okay, so quadratic polynomial will have 2 zeros and they cut the x-axis at 2 distinct points over here. In this example, I'll show you some example where a quadratic polynomial, it just touches the x-axis, which means you will get only 1 0. Or you might not get a real zero. That means it is not at all touching or cutting the x-axis. We will see such example. But what is the point to be noted over here is, for a quadratic polynomial, the shape of the graph. In fact, for any quadratic polynomial, ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, obviously a is not equal to 0. Okay, so ax square plus bx plus c is the general form of a quadratic polynomial, and the graph of the corresponding equation of the quadratic polynomial will have this shape, and this shape is called parabola. So either it will be upward or it will be downward. Okay, depending on the sign of a. Like over here, sign of a, that means the coefficient of x square is positive. If I make the sign negative, let's try minus x square. Now see, again we got a parabola, downward facing parabola, but it is not touching my x-axis. That means if I solve this, I'll not get any real zero. Let's try it out. So what change did I do there? I have changed the sign of the coefficient of x square. And we found that the graph of this polynomial was not cutting the x-axis at all, right? That means from the graph, we understand that it has no real zero. So how do we prove this algebraically? First, we take minus common. And in the bracket, we have x squared plus 3x plus 4. And now we try to complete the method squares. So x squared plus, here I'm multiplying and dividing by 2 and arranging the terms in this way. Okay, so I'm just multiplying by 2 and also dividing by 2. And then I'm arranging the term in this way, 2 into x into the leftover term is 3 by 2, right? Just rearrange this term. I've not added or anything extra. Plus 3 by 2 whole square. And since I've added this, I have to subtract this as well. 3 by 2 whole square plus 4. This is how we complete squares, right? So the first three terms form x plus 3 by 2 whole square, and the sum of these two, that is plus 4 minus 9 by 4, is 7 by 4, and the sum is this, right, with a negative sign. So you see this part, entire thing, since it's a square, it's a positive. It will definitely give me a positive value or 0, right? If x is equal to minus 3 by 2, then it will give me 0 plus 7 by 4. So this answer is going to be, so the portion inside the bracket basically will be greater than 7 by 4, obviously greater than or equal to 7 by 4. If this becomes 0, then the portion inside the bracket becomes equal to 7 by 4. Otherwise, obviously greater, because I am adding some positive value to 7 by 4. So which means the entire value, because the negative sign is there, must be less than equal to minus 7 by 4. Since it's going to be less than minus 7 by 4, it will never become 0, because in the number line, if you notice, what is minus 7 by 4? It is basically minus 1 whole 3 by 4, right? So if the middle one is 0, here we have minus 1, here we have minus 2. Minus 1 whole 3 by 4 is somewhere between minus 1 and minus 2, right? Somewhere over here, let's say. And the value of the polynomial, as we have found out, is going this side. This side will never get 0, right? So that means there is no 0. There is no value of x for which the value of this polynomial becomes 0. And hence, this polynomial has no 0, which we have seen very clearly and very easily from the graph, because the graph does not cut the x-axis. You can always check this out at home. You can draw the graph. Online graphing calculators are available. You can draw the graph of the polynomial and check whether the zeros you have calculated is correct or not. So from all this discussion about the shape of the graph, so graph of parabola will be, the shape of the parabola is always U shape, and it will go on, okay, either like this or like this. So this is the shape of the graph for quadratic polynomial. Now there are three different cases that we will discuss. First case is when the graph is cutting the x-axis at two different points, two distinct points, A and A dash. So here the 2x coordinate, that is the x-intercept we are getting. These are the two zeros of the quadratic polynomial ax squared plus bx plus c, right? And since it is downward facing, do you remember? That means the sign of a is negative. And since it is upward facing, sign of a is positive, right? Moving on. The second case. Here the graph cuts the x-axis at exactly 1 point. That means it is just touching the x-axis. Because the quadratic polynomial given can be written as a perfect square in the form of either a plus b whole square or a minus b whole square. In that case, you will always have a graph which is just touching the x-axis. So here you will get only 1, 0. Okay. Again, over here, we understand that a is less than 0, and here, since it's upward facing, the coefficient of x squared is positive. Now moving on to the third case. But before that, let us check this out in the graph. Okay, so let's go to the graph page again. So x squared plus 2x plus 1. Very well, you know, it's basically x plus 1 whole square. And you can see, let me bring it a little down. Yes, this is our x-axis. It is touching the x-axis at only 1 point, which is minus 1, 0, because that is the 0 of the polynomial. So why don't you try substituting the value, say in place of x, and find out? You will see the value will come out to be 0 only. Okay, we can try another polynomial. Let's see. X minus 2 whole square. So again, we see it cuts the x-axis at 2, 0. That means only 1, 0 of this quadratic polynomial. So that is why I say if the degree is 2, that means it will have at most 2, 0. If degree is 3, like let's say for cubic polynomial, it will have at most 3 zeros. Now, what do you expect the geometrical meaning of the zeros of a cubic polynomial to be? Let's see. Consider a cubic polynomial x cube minus x. A very simple polynomial I've taken. You can see the curve of this polynomial meets the x-axis at 3 points, which means their x coordinates are the only zeros of this polynomial. So the zeros of the polynomial x cube minus x are minus 1, 0, and 1. So a graph of cubic polynomial looks like this shape. Let us change some values and let's see how the graph changes. So let's say I put over here 4 and the zeros changes. So let's mark all the zeros of the polynomial. Again, the zeros of this polynomial are minus 2, 0, and 2. Now let us try some other polynomial x cube minus x square. So here you see there are only 2 zeros because the graph cuts the x-axis at only 2 points. One is this origin and another is at this point. So we have 2 zeros, one is origin and another is 1. Now what do you think, how many zeros will a polynomial like just x cube will have? And what will be the shape of that graph? Let's see. If I just write x cube, clearly there is only 1 0 because the graph meets the x-axis at only 1 point, that is the origin. So in this case, 0 is the 0 of the polynomial x cube. So from these examples, it's clear that there are at most 3 zeros for any cubic polynomial. That means cubic polynomial might have only 1 0 or maybe 2 zeros, maybe 3 zeros. But remember, a quadratic polynomial may not have zeros, right? We have seen where a quadratic polynomial is not cutting the x-axis only, but a cubic polynomial or linear polynomial can never have no zeros. They will always have at least 1 0. That means their graph will always cut the x-axis at least once. So cubic polynomial, it can have either 1 0, 2 0, or 3 zeros. Never 0 zeros. Okay? So I hope it's clear. So this was part 1 of the chapter where we focused on strengthening our basic concepts. I have intentionally split this chapter into 2 parts so that we can understand it properly without rushing. In part 2, we will solve previous year's CBSE board questions and complete the chapter with the relationship between zeros and coefficients. If you really want your concepts to be strong before exams, don't miss the next video. I'll see you there. Bye bye.